Good evening. If we could please call the October 29th Tazewell County Board meeting to order. And Mr. Ackerman, would you call roll?
Crawford. Here. Goddard. Here. Graff. Here. Hall. Harris. Here. Hopkins. Here. Josting. Here. Longfellow. Here. Mennel. Here. Milam. Here. Mingus. Here. Nelms. Phillips. Here. Frail. Rich Stimson. Schmidtgall. Here. Schneider. Here. Sen. Here. Stahl. Here. Stump. Here. Woodrow. Here. Chairman Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We may rise to the invocation and pledge. Lord, as we come before you this evening, we thank you for all the blessings in our life, the opportunities we have to serve you and serve others. As we are here individually, we have trials and good times and bad times in our lives. We lift all of each other up to you in that. And as a collective body, we work together to solve others' problems and where we can. Please watch over and be with us as we go into the evening, into the next week, and the month. Be with us and keep us in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Moving on to our communications for members of the public and county employees. I believe we have one, is that right? Dorsey, should I speak?
Hello, my name is Dorsey Hill and I work with the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council as an Economic Recovery Corps Fellow, and I've been working with the organization to help plan our Big Table events. And these are community input events that we host to help inform our comprehensive economic development strategy for the region. So I just wanted to speak here to let you all know that we're planning one in Tazewell County on December 10th, and that it will be at Tremont High School in their cafetorium from 4 to 7 p.m. And so these events are really structured just to get feedback from people on 4 topic areas that we have for our economic development strategy. Those include topics like workforce, thinking about quality of life, also thinking about how to support entrepreneurs, and how to create more equity for everyone throughout the region. So we kind of have small tables where we host discussions and get people's opinion and write all those thoughts down. And then we take that information and we include it in our economic development strategy. And that strategy can then be used by communities to help kind of support some of their more long-term planning and getting grant funding. So it's a really great process. I wanted to make sure that everyone's aware of that it's going on here. We had a larger event in Peoria on October 17th, and so the one we're hosting in Tazewell we call Rural Big Tables to make sure that we're reaching people outside of the Peoria area and that that we're collecting input, not just from people in Peoria, since Tazewell County is included in our economic development reach. So I have flyers that I'll leave on the back table that just include the address and information for the event, as well as my card, and welcome any questions from anyone on the event, and getting in touch with me.
No one else, we are moving on to communications from elected and appointed county officials. Hannah?
Thank you. I'm Hannah Clark. I'm the treasurer for Tazewell County, and I've been asked to give an overview of the monthly reports that I send to the board members. So we're going to go over each one briefly, and as we go, Mindy will pull them up on the screen so you know what we're talking about. We're going to start with public safety. as she pulls this up, public safety, the report I sent you guys is basically a history report of public safety. And what public safety tax is, it's a voter-approved local tax imposed on general merchandise, with the exception of tangible goods, such as cars, watercrafts, aircrafts. This money is kept in the general fund under the sheriff's department, and this money can be used for crime prevention, firefighting, police, medical, ambulance, or other emergency services. And the tax imposed is 0.5% of gross retail sales. So I know that's, thank you, perfect. So as you can see on that report, the last 3 months, August, September, and October, the counties received just over $1 million per month. So that is the first time in Tazewell County public safety tax history that we've received that much money consistently. So that's what that report tells us. Any questions on that report? Okay, on to the state revenue report. So this report summarizes all of the state shared revenues that support our general fund. Each row represents a different source of revenue distributed to the county by the state, and each column represents the month it was received. On the far right, you can see how much we've collected year to date and compare it to what we budgeted for. These revenues make up just under 63% of our general fund revenue, so tracking them monthly is essential for understanding forecasting and cash flow. As of this month, we've nearly met our budgeted amount, so at the year end, we should exceed the budgeted amount of about $2 million in excess. Does anybody have a question on this report?
That's separate from public safety.
Well, public safety is within here, but you have a separate report, that history report that was just pulled up. But public safety is included in this. It is part of our state tax that we receive. So next, we will go on to the cash balance sheet. So the cash balance sheet is something that I pull from our accounting program, MIP, as well as the expense and revenue. And I send it to you monthly, and I also send it to the department heads. So the one we're looking at is the cash balance as of September 30th. This is a monthly cash report which reflects the cash on hand per fund at the end of the month. So this report is in numerical order, starting with fund. You'll see the first fund is general fund, and then you have your asset lines underneath. Your 1010 assets are your operational cash, and your 1110s are all the investments that I've made, anything tied up in CDs. Now you can see in the general fund there are quite a few other asset funds listed there, and that is because of various reasons like resolutions that were passed, General Assembly law, or audit findings that require us to separate those funds in a separate asset GL code. And then, of course, at the end of that report, you can see our cash balance as of the end of September. Any questions on the cash report? Yes.
Madam Treasurer, are the CDs different than the investment funds that you have through that combination of two? I'm not sure I'm saying it right.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So the CDs that are in the government pool one are recognized under our operational cash, our 1010, because they're liquid.
Okay.
But the CDs that are tied up that have a maturity date would be under your 1110s. All right, next we are going to look at the expense report. So this expense report, again, is from MIP. This report provides a line-by-line overview of how taxpayer money is being spent. So this report also goes in numerical order. First, you see the fund, which is the general fund. Next, you'll see the department code, which is 100. That'll be the circuit clerk. And then underneath that falls the expense GLs. And then it carries on down through the general fund with the jury commission department being next. And as you can see, the first column shows the amount budgeted. The second column shows the expense for the month. The third column shows the expense for the year, and the fourth column shows the expense remaining. So when you look at this report, you can ensure that the offices are spending within their limits that you approve. You can also look that the expenditures match operational needs, and that no department is overspending or drawing down balances too early in the year. Some red flags for department heads or the county board members to look for would be if they are spending more than 75% of their annual budget before the 75% of the year has passed, or you could look for repeated overtime or personnel spikes. And then of course at the end of the page you get the full total, and it does total out each department separately. Any question on expense? We'll move on to revenue. The revenue report looks just like the expense report. It's in numerical order, again by fund, department code, and then the GL. This shows whether we are on track with revenues projected and can serve as an early warning tool if income begins to lag. And so when I look at both of these reports and compare to what the county has spent or taken in at this point, 10 months in, we do have a very healthy budget at this point. So our revenues are 68% collected within 10 months, and the average is 66%. And our expenses are 52% of the amount budgeted, and the average is 83%. Are there any questions on any of the reports? All right, there'll be a test next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Russ?
You're still under communication from elected officials. I have a communication, and I'm reluctant to share it, but I will. I think I've been on the board since I was 25, and I'm not 25 anymore. And I think I've said that I made a mistake once in all those years. Well, I made a second one at our last meeting. We voted on a resolution where we were talking about rules to follow, purchasing, bidding, and I said, well, I'll go along with it this time, but this is the last time. From now on, I'm going to follow the rules. That was not leadership. That was a mistake. I've regretted that every day, all month since I did it. I'm not going to make a motion to reconsider because I'm not so sure other people feel like I do. But it bothers me. And there are resolutions tonight that are similar. I got to point out that Greg and Dave Mingus and several people on the board voted the right way. John, and I didn't join them, and I feel I apologize to you. I regret my action. Two things I want to say. One, I like Mike Shoney and Mindy like they're my family. I respect them tremendously. But it's bad policy to take authority away from elected officials and put it in unelected officials. The current jobs they have are both unelected. It's not their fault, that's just the job they have. They're paid a lot more than we are, but that's their jobs. So I do not support giving authority that a county board member or a county board together has to unelected officials. The second thing is, I've had people cut, and I'm almost done, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your indulgence. The second thing is, I've been told, well, Russ, this is an exception. We're spending $40 to $50 million on these capital projects. No kidding. If you were ever going to follow the rules, you need to follow them more, not less, when you're spending $40 to $50 million. So for both those reasons, I did the wrong thing, and I'll correct it tonight. Thank you.
Russ, only 2 mistakes in all that time. I'd say you're doing super good.
Lucky. I was lucky.
With none other, may I get a motion, please, to approve the minutes of the September 24th and October 6th County Board meetings? Motion by Mr. Joesting, second by Mr. Harris. Any questions, concerns, or comments regarding them? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Posted outside on the board was our in-place meeting, but it is not on our packets that we have here in front of us. So we do have an in-place risk management committee meeting. We've got ducks everywhere, don't like Tim. All right. Sandy, if you would for us, would you please call the roll for?
Chairman Grimm?
Here.
Vice Chair Harris?
Here.
Crawford?
Here.
Hall? Josie?
Here.
Mennel?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Trail? Schneider?
Here.
Sin?
Here.
Stahl?
Here.
Auditor Funkhauser? State's Attorney?
Present.
Treasurer Clark? Here. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. In our in-place meeting, it is the recommendation, or may I first get a motion to get RM 2502 on the floor? Motion by Mr. Snyder, second by Mr. Crawford, thank you. This is recommend to approve the disposal of a damaged squad car, and it is in your packets. Is there any questions about it? Okay, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much. We are in recess on that. Moving on to consent agenda, because of the item there, number 12, will be pulled automatically. Is there any others that will be pulled?
Number 3.
May I get a motion for the consent agenda, please? Motion by Mr. Hopkins, second by Mr. Crawford. All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to item 3. May I please get a motion to get P 2518 on the floor? Motion by Mr. Stahl, second by Mr. Schmidl. Thank you, sorry. Mr. Graff.
I think there's others besides me that want to talk about this, but my concern in this resolution is the second paragraph that discusses the renovations to our existing buildings that are being caused by the construction of the Justice Center Annex. I look at that list and I see very few items on there that are related to the construction of the Justice Center Annex, and I'm wondering why this particular paragraph is in this resolution.
Okay, that's a great question. This relationship that we had established with PJ here was built on the foundation that in the contract, in the primary contract that we have with PJ here, that they would be doing renovation work. So I do understand what you're saying regarding the reorganization and relocation of county offices, but as the work that needed to be done to the existing buildings, because we are going to continue to use them, I think that scope broadened a bit, which is why you're looking at it now.
I know some of the different things, like in the original bid for the annex, was to include, the full price was to include the renovations. And that was conveniently left out on some of the different things as well during the project. We spent all the money. But it was still part of what needed to be done. So some of the renovations and the different things, flooring, painting, different kinds of things kind of just bled into each other as they were looking at doing parts for it. So that's some of the money that was in the CIP and different things and how it kind of all rolled together. Mr. Hopkins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to reference a specific paragraph, and I'd actually like, I don't know that I need clarification. I'd like actually to make a motion to amend the resolution.
Do I need to tell what the amendment would be before we get a motion for it?
Yes, you need to make a motion for it, and then you get a second and discussion on the amendment.
So the resolution would be regarding the paragraph at the end of page 24. So regarding the resolution P2518, I would move to add to the beginning of the paragraph at the end of that page of the County Board agenda for tonight's meeting. PJ Hare will follow procurement procedures set forth by the County Board in Resolution E1184 with regard to the condition for use and the bidding process rules with all projects listed and any additional projects added.
You have that in writing that you can provide us? Thank you.
Second. Mr. Chairman, I'd second the amendment.
Okay, Mr. Crawford? Is there any discussion on it?
Yeah. What it changes, what it does to the original paragraph, so I totally understand it.
So, I know there was some discussion in the property meeting, and we added this paragraph in after that to kind of address or alleviate some of those discussions. I just wanted to go a little bit farther and be very clear in what we're stating. So, in that, again, I stated that we would follow that resolution, which is our procurement procedure resolution regarding the condition for use, which states anything above $30,000 would have to go out to bid, and that the bidding process rules would all be, with all the projects, would be followed.
Alright, would PJ here do all that work to go out for the bids, or you saying the office here would do it?
Correct. PJ here would be doing that work, and then those bids, per the current resolution, would then come back to our county administrator. After that, I guess you are now our county administrator and department head.
And that's what their plan currently is, but I think this just puts it in writing as more secure on that part. Mr. Schneider?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we kind of weed into this a little bit, I would probably appreciate the state's attorney's opinion on this as we start writing language based on state statute. Mr. Holland?
Sure. So I think this is a similar situation to maybe the situation that we had previously talked about last month. These relate to a contract with PJ Hare that was competitively bid. That contract was awarded to PJ Hare. It did include some additional work as as the annex is being built and different offices are moving, and we're making other buildings continue, I guess in a condition that their continued use is expected into the future. So, this has been competitively bid already to PJ Hare. So it's really a determination of the board at this point if you're satisfied with that process and want them to do this work and take care of these projects, or if you're in a spot where you're more comfortable with having each of them, depending on the price, individually competitively bid.
Just for clarification, I believe the resolution is just to allow PJ Hare to be the general contractor, and all the projects, based on the conversation the other night in property, the projects would go out for bid still, correct? Or if I'm correct?
Okay. So what I said in the property committee meeting is PJ Hare will do whatever we ask them to do. And so what we have asked them to do is, wherever it is possible, to provide us at least 3 bids before, for any project that's listed specifically in the resolution. And they have happily agreed to do that. They have agreed that if there is any vendor, like Mike Tony is a little concerned about, we have existing vendors with relationships. We have a plumber we have had good service with before. We'd like for that person to be considered for the work. And PJ Harris said, absolutely, they will bid it out whatever way we want. The difference is that PJ Hare is not going to bid out in the same manner that we typically do. So if we bid out a project, we will give, it has to be in the we have to notice it, and it has to be noticed for 10 days, and then get formal bids back and have a formal bid opening. This will be a little different from that, from the standpoint that they will go solicit bids that they will then bring in and provide to us to review and determine if these are people appropriate for the work that we want, if the dollar amount looks right. We will have the final say on it, but it will be a slightly different process, but it will provide multiple bids wherever possible.
Just a point of clarification. When you say we, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the county.
Who in the county? Are you talking about the county board, the property committee? or
Okay,
you?
sorry. Well, I guess it depends maybe a little bit what I'm talking about. But probably, I'm meaning me and Mike Shoney, your administrator and your facilities director.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna pick just one item out of here to ask how it works. I'm taking the Justice Center repair, replace roofing for $810,000. So under the ordinance as proposed, that bid comes in at 1.2 million. What happens?
I bring it to the property committee and to the full board.
Okay,
Because it's over the budgeted amount that was approved by the board.
Either way, it's kind of like the rehires when we used to do the same thing.
and if this amendment is approved, then we have to do the normal county process, which would be involved the county soliciting bids, publishing it, blah, 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 everything related to obtaining bids. Is that correct?
I don't think that's what John exactly meant by it, but what did you mean?
Well, I thought that my belief would be that PJ Hare could follow the same rules that are set out in that resolution. So if it is a notice in the paper, I did not know what the bidding, I don't know if they knew at the property meeting, so what they may do, but I think one of the biggest concerns was, and one of the reasons why, I was looking at this was just, well, what if PJ Hare, and I think they're a great company, I think they're doing a great job, I don't think that they would do anything nefarious, but what if they cherry pick? We don't have anything specific, really making it clear how we want that done, and that was my hope overall with this resolution.
Mr. Schneider?
I completely understand where John is at on this, and I do, but what I'm starting to struggle with is if we adopt this amendment, we will then start to pay people to do jobs that the county can do themselves. Like, why would we hire PJ Hare to follow the procurement process that we have and pay them to do that instead of doing it ourselves?
Well, in regard to these, we've looked at a lot of these projects have been, and I don't know that I should be the one defending, I guess, the resolution, but a lot of these projects have been on the books for 4 or 5 years, maybe more. So I think the conversation was, this will help us speed that process up, which I understand. So I think that's, but still using them to follow the rules.
Yeah, I just think it's double work and we're paying for stuff that we could do ourselves. I think the amendment essentially makes the entire resolution moot at this point. And in my opinion, I don't know if anybody else shares that, but if you're just saying, okay, we want to put in someone to do, say, Mindy's job, a construction firm that's going to take a percentage of our money, which is going to be substantial, I think that the amendment just costs us more money and doesn't really accomplish the speed of it, because I think that's the point, right, is that these jobs have not been bid and done, and we've gone through the procurement process and the bidding process, as Mr. Holly indicated. So I think if this amendment, at the end of the day, I think if this amendment is adopted, it essentially makes the entire resolution moot. Like, we're just going to do it, we're paying somebody to do a job we already do.
Greg, let me quick talk first. What I would like to say first is, as from the general contractor point, we've hired a general contractor because of their capabilities and what they do and their contacts and the ability to do all these different things. And so them agreeing to follow what we would want, 3 bids and all the different things like that, I believe they're doing exactly what we want and what we ask. And that we don't need to have it follow that procurement of putting it in the paper, doing the different things. All that will do will be delay the project, slow things down, when, as Max just said, why have them in the first place? Because that's what we hired them for. So I'm sorry, Greg.
Yeah, I don't see how this is any different than what we voted on last month for the courthouse restoration exterior. And I've had phone calls since then from people that saw that we awarded, this, or we voted on this, and didn't know anything about it, contractors from our county. I have nothing against PJ Hare, I think they've done a good job. I'm not worried about Mindy or Mike or anybody here. I have all the respect and confidence in them, but and from my perspective, we have a responsibility to do this. And I think we're circumventing the process, the intent of the law of Illinois. And I don't know if it's gonna add cost. It's possible we could save money. I understand expediting the process. I get all that, but I'm not in favor of the amendment. I'm not in favor of the resolution because I don't think, and I've heard all the arguments for it, and I'm not gonna support either one.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yeah, going back to Max's statement, I think there's, in the CIP fund, I think there's like $11 million worth of projects, and, I think I've had conversation about the fact that some of the projects that we know our maintenance staff can do, or we're just gonna keep it in-house like we used to do. So some of those projects, that's why it's not a total thing, so like $8 million of it is the projects that we might send to PJ here to do. And then there's also a few $1 million of the projects that will stay in-house the way we used to do it. So, just clear that. I checked with Mindy on that.
Mr. Mingus?
And for me, I feel it's really important that every contractor has equal opportunity.
Thank you.
Sorry. It's important that everybody has equal opportunity to bid on these things. The county, right, wrong, or indifferent, does have, you're being watched, and there are people out there who look as far as transparency. I want everything we can to make sure that everybody has equal opportunity regardless of who they like. I do support the PJ Hare as far as them being the project management.
Catherine?
I would just add, maybe from my perspective, I think like everyone in this room, I'm a fan of PJ Hare, but I really had to understand, like especially at the bottom of 24, 25, and I just think the language is vague and ambiguous, and I think just like what he was saying, if we're really gonna follow the purchasing ordinance of Title I, Chapter 2, and make sure that, down the road, we don't have a competitive contractor come to us, or any one of us say, you know, was this a public notice, and I wanna keep it in-house, like Greg was saying, and everything else. I just wanna make sure with confidence that I could say that we followed that. That would be all, and I think if we're gonna not amend anything or do anything with this resolution, I just think the language needs to be a little bit better, coming from a higher education perspective, maybe. It's very confusing.
Just with some of the comments that I heard, I wanted to make it clear that whatever the board decides on this resolution tonight, it really is a board preference. It's what you're comfortable with, what you feel like the decision is, that needs to be made in the best interest of the citizens of the county. The references as far as making sure that we're following ordinances or statutes, or that there's some indication, I think there was maybe one comment about, you know, concern that we were circumventing the state laws on bidding or something along those lines. If that were the case, I would be the very first person to tell you. That's why I'm here. If I had a concern about state law not being followed, or ordinances not being followed, or certainly any sort of circumventing of statutes, I would definitely tell you. I would want everyone to know that before you make your decision. But in this case, that's not the case. The contract with PJ Hare was fully bid, was subject to all of the requirements for competitive bidding. So how far you wanna go under that contract, again, it's within your discretion as a board. It's what you're comfortable with and what the best decision for the citizens is in your judgment. But, the concern for whether the statutes are being followed, it's not a concern.
Thank you. Russ?
I take issue with that, Mr. Holly. The state law is very clear about purchasing, and you've identified the fact that we've gone on record and did a project with PJ. So then that now they can do it and not follow any of those specific recommendations or guidelines in state law. They may if they want, but they certainly don't have to, as Eric pointed out. This is not a debate. I have the floor. And you've interrupted several times when you weren't asked, by the way, on this issue, Mr. Holland. So, you said last month, rightfully so, eventually, first of all, you said, well, you agree with what we're trying to do, what the chair was doing. But then on questions by some of us, you pointed out that, oh yeah, we can do whatever we want, which we already knew we can do, because we're elected to protect our constituents from the various comments that you've heard from some of these members. They didn't just make those up. Some of the constituents have contacted us and asked us these questions. They don't call you, but they call us because that's our job. And you come up with this little, I want to be respectful. So you come up with, we used to call it when I was growing up, mealy-mouthed. It's where you talk out of both sides of your mouth. You tell us we can do whatever we want, but then you keep arguing against us trying to make PJ follow the guidelines that are in the state law, which are written to protect us. So I'm like Mr. Menold. I'm not voting for this resolution. It's not what my constituents want. I'm all for the building. I'm all for PJ ordinarily, but we don't have any right. I think Eric pointed this out too. We don't have a right to tell PJ how to do their bidding. That's an internal business process that they have. So we don't even have the right, if we're going to turn it over, to tell them, by the way, you gotta follow these things in the Illinois Revised Statutes. I'm not satisfied with where it's at. My constituents aren't satisfied, and I'm voting no, thanks.
Well, I agree it's not a debate, and when I provide advice and words to the board, they're not just for you, Mr. Crawford, they're for the board as a whole. So I'm not here to argue with you. I don't, that's not my function, and I'm also not here to tell anybody how to vote. To be very honest with you, I don't care how anyone votes. That's not my function. My function is to provide legal advice to the board, to analyze state statute, to let you know if I believe that the board is running afoul of state statute, county ordinance, federal regulation, any of those. My function here tonight, as usual, is very narrow, and that is the question of whether or not the board has complied with competitive bidding statutes. The answer to that is yes. That's a clear answer. The competitive bidding statutes were followed. The contract was awarded to PJ Hare. There are terms under that contract, as I mentioned last month. It is up to the board how far they feel comfortable going under that contract. That contract has been awarded. Statutes have been complied with, and if you're comfortable proceeding under that contract and having PJ Hare oversee these projects, that's perfectly fine. If the board is not comfortable doing that, they would like to see these individual projects subject to the full competitive bidding statutes as separate projects, not under that contract, awarded not under the PJ Hare contract, that's also fine. That also complies with state statutes. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone's unclear about anything.
Mr. Mennel.
I just want to clarify, I probably didn't say it right, but what I meant to say is I think, in my opinion, we're circumventing the intent. I didn't want to infer that we were going against statute, but in my opinion, and I think you, if I'm not mistaken, last month you said it's allowable, but you said it's up to us to decide if it's best practice. And so I guess I'll just say I don't think it's best practice.
Harris.
I understand John's point and where he's coming from, but I think it's covered in our existing contract. So I'm gonna oppose the amendment, and I didn't appreciate Mr. Crawford's outburst.
Phillips.
Okay, so when you say the contract with PJ Harry, we're talking about a construction management contract? Is that true? Because what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so we contracted PJ Hare to be the general contractor on the Justice Center, and then we bid out all of the Justice Center, correct?
We did, PJ Hare was amongst 6 people who bid on being the construction manager at risk for the Justice Center Annex. And in that request and in the contract includes for the awarded bidder to also be responsible for being the project manager on renovation projects within our existing building. So that is kind of all encompassing. So here we're just clarifying, we're getting ready to embark on that part of the contract. And so we're just bringing clarity about what exactly is happening under that first contract where it extends into these existing building renovations.
And my question is, under the first part of that contract, the building of the new building, did we bid out, so did PJ Hare go and get bids for all of the construction work that was to be done on the new building?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, now we're into the next stage of this, and so now we're saying we don't need to bid out these jobs? So I understand that we bid out the construction management, I get that. I mean, yeah, we did it, PJ Hare won that. But then we bid out all the construction of the new building. And so I guess my question is, why are we not bidding out all these other jobs under the next step of this contract, of this project?
So the intention would be that we would be bidding them out. I guess I should say, that PJ Hare would be responsible for gathering bids from a variety of subcontractors to do the work for any particular project within the capital improvement plan that was specified to be overseen by PJ Hare. So they would go get a variety of bids for the contracts and then bring that to the county. And by that, I guess what is specified in here is the county administrator and the facilities manager, that those people would receive the bids and bring them to the property committee and the full board if the dollar amount plus the fee for PJ Hare exceeded the budget.
The process that PJ Hare would go through for those bids, like Mindy mentioned, would be different than what the county is required to go through when there's, say, for example, a fresh new project and we're looking for someone to do it. So though they would be, PJ Hare would be looking for bids, it wouldn't be the same process that our finance department goes through when, we want to, buy something. With the publication process and that sort of thing. It's just different. They're not subject to those same laws that the county is.
I call for the question.
I'd second that.
All right, before we get to that, I believe we need to read it again so we know what it is we're voting on. This is the call for the question on the amendment.
This would be on the amendment to item number 3. The amendment reads, PJ Hair Incorporated will follow the procurement procedures set forth by the County Board in Resolution E-1184 with regards to the conditions for use and bidding process rules with all projects listed and any additional projects added.
Thank you, and for a vote, I think that
So
would probably.
clarification,
Yes, sir.
discussing just a clarification on the resolution change. You explained that PJ Hair can solicit, vendor, people to do stuff. This resolution requires it to be noticed in paper like we normally do. Is that the difference between the two that we're voting on right now?
I think that would be up to what John's was when you made the resolution, or what the amendment, what was your intention?
Well, in question was called, I guess, so I didn't get here, but I don't know if legally, I guess we can require that or not. Then I'm a little confused.
So we don't know exactly.
Yes, my intent was to do it the way we do it.
Okay, so that would be requiring notice in the paper, all the different things, as our finance department would put out for bids. All right, all those in favor, signify by aye.
This is called for the question or for the amendment?
That's correct.
So if you vote yes, you vote for the amendment, vote no, you vote yes.
That's correct, and probably actually let's do it by roll call.
Crawford?
No.
Coward?
Yes.
Graff?
No.
Hall? Harris?
No.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Jostin? Longfellow?
Yes.
Milo? Mennel?
No.
Mingus?
Yes.
Nelms? Phillips?
Yes.
Frail? Rich Stinson? Schmidtall?
Yes.
Schneider?
No.
Sen?
No.
Stahl?
No.
Stump?
Yes.
Woodruff?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, before the county clerk announces the vote, I want to change my vote from yes to no. Thank you.
You are already a no. Mr. Crawford, you are already a no.
Oh, good.
Vote is 9 yes, 8 no, motion passes.
So now we are back to a resolution as amended.
Yes.
Is there further discussion? Mr. Schneider?
Thank you. Question is for Mindy. Mindy, now that we have approved this amendment, can you tell me or give me an estimate of what it is going to cost to hire someone to do a job that we can do ourselves?
I don't know how much that will cost, but, I'm not sure that PJ here for our 2.75% fee will still do what they, like formally bid that out. I think that's a whole other process that we've never discussed with them, honestly. So I'm not sure what that's gonna look like.
If we're, a follow-up to that, or if they have a desire to do that, it may just change a whole bunch of everything, Mr. Schneider.
So on the contract, they were contracted for a certain percentage based on the work that they do, or the work that's bid out, or what we pay, or what is the percentage based on?
The 2.75%, it is based off of the cost of the project. So if a project that they, received bids for, that we chose a bid that was $30,000, it would be 2.75% of the total.
Of everything that's bid out, so that's.
Of the cost of that project.
Of the cost of that project, so per what Mr. Longfellow said, is that there's roughly $8 million of work that we were planning to have PJ Hare bid out. Can you do 2.75% of $8 million?
Yes, I have. It's $225,201.
Congratulations, we have just increased the cost of this project by $250,000. Is that what we were hoping to do? My goodness, I mean, this is a little bit out of scope, and I'll make one more comment. This was the exact point we, who were against this building project last fall, were trying to make. There would be a completely new board with completely different ideas about how to go down this process. But it was the view of some of you who are here currently that we needed to get this done in November before that new board was sat, because we just gotta get this project off the ground. Well, we're here now, and we're trying to get the project off the ground, as some of you have indicated that you wanted to do, and now we wanna change it. Now we're ready to change it. This was the point. This is exactly the point we were trying to make. It's a shameful.
Mr. Harris, do you have a comment to that? It's good for me.
I just wanted to clarify, from my understanding, the 2.7% is built into the bid pricing currently. So no, we didn't just raise $220,000 to the project. That was already in there. Now they'll have to decide, I guess, if they want to do the work based on what was said. But we didn't just raise any additional cost.
Mr. Graff.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sitting here, now that this has been, a motion has been made, and the resolution has been amended. I'm not sure that I want to vote on this tonight, simply because I don't know what's going to happen. And because of those concerns, I'd like for the staff to review this for a month, and let's talk about this in November. So I'm making a motion to table this resolution as amended.
A point of inquiry?
And would you like to table it, or would you like to send it back to committee for discussion and work?
That was gonna be my inquiry.
Nick, would you like to table it or send it back to committee for discussion and work?
I'll do the latter, send it back to committee.
So, alright, there's a second? By Catherine. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Roll call.
We'll do a roll call on it, please.
So this is on the motion to send it back to committee. Crawford?
Aye.
Goddard?
Aye.
Graff?
Aye.
Paul? Harris? Hopkins?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Longfellow?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Mylum?
Yes.
Mingus? Nelms? Phillips?
Yes.
Frail? Rich Simpson? Schmickall?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Sen?
Yes.
Stahl?
No.
Stump?
Yes.
Woodrow?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. It goes back to committee. Moving on to risk, may I please get a motion to get RM 2502 on the floor? Motion by Mr. Mingus, second by Mr. Graff. This came out of our in place. Are there any questions regarding it? Alright, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much. Moving on to our appointments and reappointments.
No.
May I get a motion for our appointments and reappointments, please? Motion by Mr. Sin, by Mr. Crawford. Can we get these as a whole, please?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much. We have no unfinished business or new business. We've seen the bills. I need to get a motion to approve the November 25 calendar meetings, please. Motion by Mr. Josteen, second by Mr. Hopkins. Questions? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Before we recess, I would like to remind everybody that invitation from the EMA, there's a general membership meeting on November 13th at 7 o'clock at the EMA building across from the health department. Everyone is invited to. So please put on the calendars and show up. With that, we are going to recess until November 19th. We'll take about a 5-minute break while we're getting ready for budget, and then restart at 7 o'clock.